There's been a distinct shift in my Grindr messages since turning 50 last month. Less show home and more, hey daddy. I don't mind. I wish when I was younger I'd been able to contact handsome, successful, funny writers instead of relying on the men's underwear pages of Freeman's catalogue as my entire sex life. Instagram ads are a bit less, hey daddy, and more, choke me daddy. They go straight for the throat. Thinking about a hair transplant? Need help planning your funeral? Problems with erections? Maybe they're all connected. It's not all bad. I clicked on an ad for Saga Home Insurance and we saved 20% off our annual policy. And turning 50 also meant nice gifts. My friend Jonas bought me a poster made up of 4,000 empty circles, 4,000 dots, each representing the number of weeks an average person lives, 4,000 weeks. Jonas used my date of birth when he ordered it, so it arrived pre-filled with more than half of the dots already blacked out. According to the poster, I've been alive for 2,615 weeks, 1,385 to go, the middlest of midlife. Many of the middle-aged straight people I know built their lives against an established social scaffolding. Grow up, leave school, get a job, marry, have kids, get promoted, travel, have grandkids, retire, die. They grew up dreaming about their weddings, imagining what names their grandchildren might call them, what colour of chinos they would buy from Gap. Beige. Those of us queer folk now in middle age, we grew up not in the shadow of oppression, but with the bright blazing glare of it burning into our eyes, leaving spots in our vision forever. It was a tough time to be queer. I first came out to myself watching The Empire Strikes Back. There's a scene where Han Solo gets captured. Darth Vader straps him to a torture machine. The camera cuts away just as the probes get close to his body. We hear Han Solo scream in pain. In that moment I knew I was gay, age 8. It wasn't the torture that confirmed it, but in my imagination I thought, they must have taken his shirt off. Sexy. I came out to my parents at 15, not by choice. They read my diary, full of florid sexual fantasies about George Michael. At that time everyone thought he was straight, like my parents thought I was. Wham, bam, I am a man who likes men. My mum wanted me to see a psychiatrist, but I refused. Thankfully she didn't know about the Han Solo torture thing, or I might have found myself dragged there. She said she was worried I'd never be happy, that this lifestyle I'd chosen was sad, lonely, and dangerous. Nobody ever spoke about the AIDS leaflet that had dropped through the letterbox. My mum talked plenty about her fear I'd be preyed on by older men, taken advantage of. When it came to sexual health, though, there was silence. My mum was 17 when she had me. My dad was 20. They met at a party where she drank so much she vomited into a sink. He held her hair back, romantic, and then drove her home, and by the time she got through the front door, she was pregnant with me. Looking back, I can see where the fear of advantage thing might have come from. I, on the other hand, wishing someone would take advantage of me, didn't meet another gay person until I was 17 years old. There's not much in this world I'm certain of, but I truly 100% believe there is not a single straight person on this planet who could say, I didn't meet another straight person until I was 17. Instead, us middle-aged queers grew up with skewed images of ourselves. John Inman, Larry Grayson, desexualized mummy's boys to pity and laugh at. We had no one to look up to that might show us how to be well-adjusted, happy, sexual beings. My 13-year-old straight schoolmates got to make all their mistakes growing up before trying it for real. They talked to each other about it and could ask teachers questions in sex education classes. It would have been illegal for any of my teachers to discuss homosexuality due to Section 28. So I feigned interest at how babies were made, while wondering what two men actually did in bed together. Nobody ever had a conversation with me growing up about sexual pleasure. Straight sex created life. Gay sex equaled death. Do my hair like George Michael, I had said to my mum's hairdresser before leaving Aberdeen for university, meaning I arrived with a loose perm, a weird accent, and zero chance of sex. I arrived in London a few months before turning 18. The age of consent for gay men was 21 at the time, and I joke about how I was living my life as an outlaw, but actually no one wanted to have sex with me. Bad hair and a lack of clue meant I was a disaster, maybe ultimately saving my life. The first time I shared a bed with another man, I kept my pants on, and my jeans. Having survived those brutal years, I often wonder if I'm putting my time, those remaining 1,385 dots, to good use. I've interviewed more than 70 middle-aged queer people for this book, and a common theme is one of reaching this age and feeling stuck. In the absence of any queer social scaffolding, we had to build ourselves. We didn't dream of weddings and baby showers. Those things were not possible to us. We threw ourselves into work, sex, drugs, all of the above, and maybe we've reached a point where we just feel a bit lost. How did we get here? What's here like? And what happens next? How do we locate ourselves as middle-aged queer people lost in a straight world? Midlife is full of contradictions. There's the irony of reaching peak confidence just around the time you start to need afternoon naps. The unhappiness I felt with my body throughout my 20s has been replaced by a celebratory sense of my sexiness. But my clubbing days are over. A friend invited me to an event that started at 10 p.m, I asked. No thanks. When I look again at those 4,000 dots on the poster, I wonder how many of the 2,615 dots I've lived spent being able to be truly, openly, authentically myself. Middle age offers us an opportunity to pause, reflect, and think about how we might live more deliberately for the rest of our days. We haven't come this far through all of that to settle for mediocrity now. I wonder how many dots I really have left. My husband and I, together now for 24 years, often joke about who's going to die first. There's still no word for a man whose husband dies. How can people talk about it when there's no language for it? What if one of us becomes ill or needs a care home? There's only a certain number of dots available for the whole care home industry to change its culture and be more queer-friendly in preparation for my arrival. Is anyone doing that work today, before my dots run out? Between now and then I want to find ways to flourish through middle age and beyond, from midlife crisis to midlife confidence. I'm determined to live loudly, honestly, unapologetically. I've rediscovered in my middle age a sense of wholeness, a deep remembering that there is, and never was, anything wrong with being queer. It's the world that's wrong for treating us so badly for so long. So with each passing dot, I may not be asked so much anymore to show whole, but I'm showing everyone my wholeness, whether they like it or not, until I have no dots left to give.